How does that 95% depreciation in the value of the U.S. dollar since 1913 compare with other currencies of the world? The pounds, the Deutsche Mark, the yen, any other major?
Well, the history of the 20th century...
Inflation is global.
The history of the 20th century is the history of monetary destruction. From the German ruble, from the German Reichsmark, from the Polish zloty. I mean, you go down the list, every major currency has had a monetary destruction. The Brazilian real, the Argentina peso, you go name it. And what happened? Massive unemployment, massive dislocation in the economy. And here's the other point, the Chinese yuan. Every major destruction of the Russian ruble, the German mark, and the Chinese yuan, that's totalitarianism. That's historically accurate. 1917, the Russian Revolution, because what was the communist slogan? Peace, land, and bread. And the communists won.
Were these other currencies' depreciation, though, the result of what happened in the United States?
No, it was the result of their own governments printing money to fight wars. 1923, the Germans were inflating to pay for the reparations after World War I. And Hitler tried to get power in November 1923, was arrested, wrote Mein Kampf, and the rest, they say, is history. In the 1940s, the Chinese government under Chiang Kai-shek printed up money to pay for the war, and the peasants were decimated. Along comes Mao Zedong and says, we're going to stabilize the currency, and they take over China in 1949. So every major destruction, and of course what happened in Argentina and Brazil, you had authoritarian governments. So the history of the 20th century is the history of monetary destruction, war, and brutality. That's what keeps me awake at night.
But my point is, doesn't that potentially dilute the argument about the American dynamic here with the establishment of the Federal Reserve?
No, absolutely not.
And why is it that it doesn't appear that other candidates consider this such an issue that they don't present it? Why is Congressman Paul such a lone voice on this issue? And why don't you hear other pundits in other spheres, not just politics, but financial establishments also argue this point? I hear so little of this.
Read Jim Grant in Sunday's New York Times. He was on 60 Minutes.
I don't subscribe to the Times.
Peter Schiff has been writing about it. Money manager Jim Rogers, the famous commodities expert. These people who have made a lot of money in the markets because they understand how the markets work. There are people on LouRockwell.com, Mises.org, and SafeHaven.com that have been writing about this for years and years and years. I've been writing about it for 32 years. I wrote an article for the New York Times in 1976 that could have been written yesterday about the Federal Reserve manipulation of the money and credit system. Same problem in 1976, same problem in 2008. Nothing changes. And so the question, George Soros, who was worked with Jim Rogers in the offshore fund that made a ton of money, he just was in Switzerland at the World Economic Forum saying the U.S. dollar is on the verge of being, what's the term he said? The U.S. dollar is now being sacrificed by the federal government, or something to that effect. In other words, what we're seeing right now, no one's talking about this, what we're seeing right now, given the trillions of dollars that are overseas, is a flight out of the dollar. That's why gold is going up, silver is going up. That's why foreigners are coming to the United States and getting rid of dollars and buying what? Buildings and companies in the United States. Now that's somewhat good because it means they have confidence in the U.S. economy. But what it means is that we are becoming, in essence, almost like a third world country. In fact, I coined the term in the early 1990s, we're becoming a high-tech banana republic. Because we've printed so much money, that so much money is out there, that it's going to have substantial impact on our standard of living. That's just a fact of life. You know, the laws of economics cannot be repealed by any Republican or any Democrat. The laws of economics are as solid as the law of gravity, and no one wants to defy the law of gravity.
Okay, we're going to have to, okay.
One more question.
You got me so confused. I was going to ask why, and you answered the question, why are the Germans buying up all of Florida if they had no confidence in the United States?
No, they do, because they have, remember, when you have...
But they can have all these buildings,
yeah,
and they're going to be worthless. They can
no.
get 10 cents on the dollar.
No. What happens in a dynamic marketplace, which is the global economy right now, people have excess cash. So you do something with excess cash. You buy real assets that gives you some sort of value. So in Florida, they're buying up the condos. That's upping up prices in Florida. They're buying up real estate in Texas. They're buying up real estate in California. They're buying up everything that they can with the excess dollars that they've received by the U.S. consumer going on a spending spree for the last 20 years. That's what's happening. So in a way, it's a good thing because it's propping up prices, but on the other hand, we have more and more overseas investors having an impact on our economy. So some people think that politically is not a good thing. But in a global economy, what we have today, it's just the inevitable consequence of monetary policy. And so, listen, the genie's out of the bottle. It really is. I mean, we have this global economy. It's not going to go away. It's going to keep on increasing, which is a good thing because we're getting cheap goods from overseas. But on the other hand, we have a monetary system that is going to give us some pain over the next several years. There's no question about that. That is guaranteed. That I can guarantee you that.
You folks know how much students have to pay to hear a lecture like that at Ramapo College?
You got it for free.